The world and its trends are changing. The economy has not been impressive unless we want to deceive ourselves. It's saddening that we see our world being destroyed with our own eyes. As society advances, it is believed that each generation will live better and happier lives, but it isn't as it seems. This trend has really changed. Based on how bad the economy is, it is challenging for today's younger generations to live as well as their parents. This is something that calls for attention, and it's indeed something to be frightened of. This is especially the case for the United States, which experienced one of the greatest economic and quality of life declines over the last decade. What exactly is going on? Why is this happening? That's what you'll be expecting in today's video. So get ready to be inspired as we take you to why the young generations are poorer than their parents. If there's one generation that's become the scapegoat for the nation's problems, it's the millennials. If you grew up in a developed country after the Second World War, you could be fortunate to be better off than your parents and grandparents. This is because nearly all households in advanced economies have seen their incomes increase. There was steady economic and employment growth around that period. 98% of households in 25 advanced economies experienced rising real incomes between 1993 and 2005. However, things began to change in recent years, and the trend has ground to a halt and even gone into reverse. This is happening because there are now flat and falling incomes in advanced economies. This reality started manifesting between 2005 and 2014. The real income of up to 70% of households in advanced economies fell. The United States declined both in absolute terms and relative to its wealthy world power peers, and this made the country rank just 28th in social progress. For a country that always likes displaying itself as the best country in the world, we have this problem. Something isn't just right. The U.S. is experiencing a social shift where the youth may not have much of a future to look forward to. Something needs to be done before things get completely out of hand. Going through the tax issues, many governments have attempted to soften the blow with lower tax rates and transfers. It isn't enough because up to a quarter of all households in these developing countries still saw disposable incomes falling or stagnating during this period. Let's take Italy as an example. This country has been particularly hit hard, making 97% of households experience flat or falling incomes between 2005 and 2014. However, after accounting for taxes and benefits, this figure rose to 100% of households. Over 80% of households in the United States experienced no growth in real income during this period. As a result of benefits and tax cuts, virtually every family experienced an increase in disposable income. So, there has been a new perspective on the growing debate in advanced economies about income inequality. Up until now, it has focused mainly on income and wealth gains going disproportionately to top earners. Following the 2008 financial crisis, there has been a deep slump and weak recovery, which is one of the major reasons behind this change. There are not only the issues we're experiencing today, we have other long-term factors such as shifts in the labor market and aging populations. All these factors have been contributing to the phenomenon and will continue to do so. Richard Dobbs and Anu Madgavkar, partners at McKinsey & Company, commented on the findings in an article for the Financial Times. They said, "We believe that this trend is a significant new element in the ongoing global debate about income inequality. Indeed, there is already a wealth gap between boomers and millennials, as we earlier depicted that the older generations have benefited from low interest rates to investments in companies that bolster pollution. This pollution would definitely have a negative outcome on the climate. There will be climate crisis and its strain on the younger generations. Furthermore, we shouldn't forget about the Great Recession that already began to place millennials behind their older counterparts. It is quite unfortunate that the effect this recession has had on the population is astounding. In fact, the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis realized that millennials earned 34% less than they would have gotten should there be no recession. Things are not getting funny as the younger generations are facing dire consequences due to the atrocities of those before us, while they reaped all the benefits. This reason alone has left a handful of younger ones in the dark. When falling incomes have not received as much attention as the income growth of top earners, Dobbs and Madgavkar revealed that the subject matter should be more widely discussed because it acts as a brake on GDP growth, which could also be propelling social and political disgruntlement. It is evident that people are gloomy about the future and that of the global economic system. However, the fact is that almost one-third of those with flat or falling incomes expect their children to advance more slowly in the future. There have also been negative reviews on free trade and immigration. Well, we may not consider this bad news since the report reveals that it is possible to improve people's incomes. According to the happenings in the United States, it is revealed that different changes in government taxes and labor market practices and transfers may impact household incomes. Also, increased transfers and lower taxes turned a decline in market income for most households into a rise in disposable income for nearly everyone. Dobbs and Madgavkar gave some recommendations on how government should help in times like this. They suggested that governments should look at other measures that can target and help support the incomes of the most vulnerable and focus on raising productivity to create new jobs and boost growth. This is really a wise move if it can be done. Well, one of the funniest things about this new generation is that they don't get married and start families, and the reason is understandable. This makes them decide to live in their parents' basement. They refuse to buy their own house. In fact, they drift from school to school and job to job, all trying to find their passion. They are mostly scared of adulthood because the funds to stay strong haven't been actualized. However, while it is inevitable that these issues can be attributed to severe character flaws, it still needs to be fixed before things go to an unredeemable extinction. It keeps us wondering if we too often overlook that millennials are up against some difficult odds. It baffles one to see the government isn't even doing anything about the whole issue, and if proper decisions aren't made, things can get worse than it currently is. As a new study released by the Young Invincibles implies, one of the biggest problems is for a student to still be in debt. Young adult workers today earn $10,000 less than young adults in 1989, a decline of 20%. The study quickly notes that for a college degree, it's still worth it with or without debt. Sadly, our generation keeps facing a housing market crisis where the prices of homes are way too expensive even to consider purchasing. The world is running out of natural resources. Inflation is at a record high. Social programs in union are experiencing declination. Worse enough, the climate crisis is at large and will likely not be stopped or solved. This is why something needs to be done, and it needs to be done now. What future can the youth even look forward to? Not just in America, but in the whole world. How can we possibly reverse all of this damage? Unfortunately, chances are slim because youths have no power or influence. They don't make much. They are in debt and demonized across the media for being lazy and entitled. Now that this generation is experiencing this, I leave it for you to imagine what the new generations will experience. That's it for today, guys. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below on how you also think these issues can be solved. If you liked the video, make sure you subscribe to this channel and give this video a like. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.